Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you, and let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up the screen. Yes, Humbl. We're going to talk about Humbl and their uplist to the Otcqb, and also we're going to talk about dilution and where are we on that. So let's get into Humbl. All right, before I get started, I haven't been doing any videos in the last week. I was actually out of town playing golf with my brothers. I've got two of those.
This is my brother Daryl. That's my other brother Daryl.
That's right. We were out playing golf and doing whatnot down in Florida, having a good time, enjoying the weather. But I'm back, going to be doing some videos. And like I said, let's get right on into Humbl. All right, so Humbl uplisted to the Otcqb. Says here, Brian Foote said the achievement of becoming an Otcqb issuer is a testament to the hard work of the entire Humbl team. To be able to meet the requirements of the OTC markets and be listed is an important step for the future of our company. And to go over the requirements, basically, to be considered Otcqb, it's got to have audited financials. That's the biggest part to me. And it says here the audits must be done by an auditor registered with the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So again, it is tougher to be an Otcqb, and it makes us feel better about the numbers that we see from them. So there's a lot more to it. If you want to go into that and take a look, you certainly can. I'm not going to go through every single little detail of it, but just know this, you can feel real good about their financials and the fact that they've upped their game a little bit. Now the stock itself is sitting at 31 cents, and we talked a while back about whether this had hit the bottom or not, and that was about 10 days ago. As you can see down here, that stopped going down at 22 cents. Well, if you think about it, if you're exercising warrant shares and you're having to pay 20 cents for them, would you exercise those and then sell them for 19 or 18 or even 20? Because there's some expenses, I'm sure, involved in selling those shares. No, you wouldn't. So I don't think there's a lot of selling pressure right here at the 22 cents, getting around that 20. So to me, we're pretty close to what I perceive as the bottom. Okay, and that was about 10 days ago, and I think that's been pretty true. As you can see, it's been kind of working its way up since then, and what that had to do with the warrant shares has to do with Forwardly having 125 million warrant shares at 20 cents. They're obviously not going to sell those under 20 cents, and I'll show you that here in a second. So I think 22 cents, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, is the bottom for Humbl. And here's the thing, opinions are like rear ends. Everybody's got one. But that to me, I think is the bottom. And as you can see, it's been working its way up ever since. And what I'm talking about here is the warrant shares where they, in their S1, this form S1, it shows where shares are being sold. And here you've got these warrant shares, which are at 20 cents, and they're selling 123 million of them, which is basically, I'm assuming that's Forwardly. So they're not going to sell those below 20 cents, I wouldn't think. You'd be losing money. That wouldn't make any sense. Why would you exercise them? Now, again, remember, that's money that goes to Humbl. The 20 cents, all that money goes to Humbl. So it's the difference between 20 and whatever the stock price is the profit for Forwardly. And where they got those warrant shares, where they put up $200,000 way back in the day when it was TSNP, and the stock at that time was around 1 or 2 cents, and they bought them for 5. The reason it's 20 now is because of the reverse split. Those warrant shares participated in that reverse split of 4-to-1. So again, that's why I think the bottom of 22 cents is about right. And as you can see, they're going to be selling 254 million shares to raise money for the company and through various means, B shares, etc. So of that 254 million, let's see how many have been sold. Okay, as we look here at outstanding shares, we're now sitting at 1.1 billion. Okay. Now let's remember back in August, we were at 912 million. On January 4th, we were at 1,066 million. So they started selling those shares of the 250. And now we're sitting at around 1.1. So that's 200 million shares. And again, it was 250 million shares they were planning on selling. So it looks like they've sold about 80% of those. Now there'll be additional dilution each month as some of the B share people actually sell some shares, and I'll show you that. As you know, the B shares, they're allowed to sell 5% per month up to that amount of the angel investors, and that could be up to 120 million. That could be up to 120 million shares per month, but I doubt we're going to see anything close to that. It's probably going to be in the neighborhood of about 20 or 30, I would guess, because I doubt there's a lot of those angel investors looking to sell in the 20 and 30 cents. But, you know, we'll see over time. But they very much tied up these B shares. As you know, Brian Foote tied up all of his through the end of the year, which is 43%. The officers have theirs tied up, which takes you almost to 60% when you combine those two, and they can only sell 1% per quarter, and they haven't sold any according to Brian Foote. And then the B shares, again, they can sell 5% per month, and then it drops down to 3% after that. And again, I wouldn't expect them to sell a ton of that, not in these low prices, but I'm sure there'll be some. And here was the tweet from Brian Foote, where he said the insiders of the 14.6% have also sold 0 shares and will sell no more than 1% of their holdings per quarter. But like I said, they haven't sold any, according to Brian Foote, and that was on one of his tweets. So again, as you know, I was waiting for December 3rd to take a look at buying some shares and dollar cost averaging this stock, but I did want to wait for a dip, and we did have this dip down to 22. So I'll be adding, if this thing gets down around 25 again, or less, I think that's a pretty good buying opportunity. This is not bad at 30, 31, but I'd prefer to get it down in the 20s. And I really feel like 22 cents is probably the bottom for this stock, and we'll probably see over time it going up. Now realize the key to this thing from this point going forward are revenues. And seeing this company start showing some better revenues over time. Of course, they've got ticketing, Hmbl tickets, they've got their NFTs, they've got their ETXs. And part of what they're doing with this raising of money, it sounds like they're going to be buying another company and probably be buying some revenues. And it stated that in the S1. It said, we may receive up to $39 million in gross proceeds upon the cash exercise of the warrants and selling stockholders. We will use such proceeds when received for acquisitions and working capital. So it sounds like, you know, they're obviously going to use it for day-to-day stuff, but also acquisitions, which would probably be buying some revenue on top of when they bought Tickery, for example, and trying to build up their revenues over time. And of course, you know, peer-to-peer has been started. Granted, it's just getting on its feet, but that'll be another source of major income. And that's one of the major reasons people bought Hmbl to begin with, would be peer-to-peer using blockchain. And of course, this really is an investment in blockchain technology. And instead of necessarily buying a cryptocurrency, you're buying a company that's going to be using blockchain to send money, hopefully seamlessly across borders. And if you've seen the commercial from the front end, if you've watched this channel, I've shown it a bunch. But that's the main reason. But they're going to have lots of other sources of income, as you can tell, with whether it's ticketing or ETXs or NFTs, et cetera, and so on and so forth. All right, folks, and that's Hmbl today. And if you bought down there in the low 20s, 22 through 25, you probably made a real good buy, in my opinion. And like I say, I'm going to be looking to pick some up if it drops back down in the 20s. I'd feel pretty comfortable with that, having looked at the dilution and seeing what kind of selling pressure is there. But again, you know, it's up to you. It's your money. You do what's best for you. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover Hmbl. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Give the channel a chance. I'd appreciate it. And I hope you did like the content. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.